I'm Claire James, and this is my dad. My dad is a classic example of someone who uses extended problem solving. Now, my brother's car was written off in the hailstorms that hit Canberra earlier this year. Since then, Dad has been looking for a replacement car for him. This has been going on 4 months. Each night, Dad can be found looking up reviews of sales and cars. And Dad uses extended information search, as he doesn't like being ripped off. When he saw the price of this car, his reaction was,
"Tell him he's dreaming."
So as you can tell, Dad likes to do a lot of research to ensure that he is getting a good deal when buying a car. So let's take a few moments to unpack Dad's decision-making process. There are 5 steps to decision-making. 1, problem recognition. 2, information search. 3, evaluation of alternatives. 4, decision-making. And 5, post-purchase evaluation. As there was a large gap between my brother's actual state and ideal state, this prompted the decision-making process. Looking at problem recognition first, this occurs when a consumer recognises a problem or situation that needs to be resolved. In this case, the problem that needed to be resolved was my brother's need for a car. So this problem recognition was sparked because he had previously had a car, which meant that his actual and his ideal states aligned. They were travelling along happily until that hailstorm hit, which then rode off his car, making his actual state drop so much lower than his ideal state. This problem recognition led to the information search process. This decision-making process was very rational. It involved spending many hours each week for the past 4 months gathering information about all types of cars, comparing and contrasting the pros and cons of alternatives before making a decision. As purchasing a car is a big ticket item, it is a high involvement purchase, which requires extended problem solving. Now there are a few types of information search: internal information search and external information search, of which Dad used both. Internal information search is based on memories and experiences. Dad had spent many years learning about the qualities to look for in cars and learning about particular makes and models. This information was learnt through directed learning, which involves previously searching for information, and incidental learning, which is where the information is acquired passively through ongoing exposure. Although Dad already had prior learning from which he could do internal information search, Dad still needed to do the second type of information search, which is external information search. Dad did this through speaking to his friends and professionals in the field about particular cars and trying to establish if particular models would suit my brother's needs, conducting internet research to learn further information on different models, and also using the internet to search for the sales of potential cars. As you can see, this has been an ongoing process which has required a lot of time and energy, which is why it can be said that Dad has used extended problem solving. Interestingly, it has been found that those with a moderate knowledge of a product, such as my dad, tend to do the most amount of research into a product when compared with an expert or a total novice. Moving on to the evaluation of alternative stage, there are 3 sets of alternatives to consider. The evoked set, which includes all the brands and models in one's memory, which can be actively considered during the evaluation of alternative stage. After the extended information search, Dad had a clear idea of what options to include in his evoked set, which led to him choosing a car from his evoked set. There are still 2 other sets of alternatives: the inert set, which contains the brands and models that would be considered if the evoked set options were not available, and the inept set, in which holds the brands and models you would never consider purchasing. In order to establish an evoked set, and then to be able to evaluate the options within Dad's evoked set, Dad had to make clear determinate attributes to help make his decision. These included things like that there is enough legroom to drive comfortably, as my brother is very tall, low kilometres so that it will hopefully last a long time, and a whole heap of other factors I won't get into right now. Now that Dad has thought out what products make up his evoked, inert and inept sets, it now leads to the decision stage. Others may use heuristics to make quick decisions. These are like mental shortcuts which can be based on assumptions such as if a product is of Australian origin, then it will meet stricter regulations than other nations, or that a high health star rating means that a product is good and a healthy option. Heuristics tend to be used more frequently in limited problem solving. And as I have mentioned earlier, Dad's information search went on for months, so he didn't really use heuristics to speed up his decision making. Dad carefully compared all his alternatives and weighed up the pros and cons of alternatives based on the determining attributes that were already established. This is an example of using compensatory decision rules. More specifically, the weighted additive rule, in which Dad created an order of importance of the attributes and measured the pros and cons accordingly. This process led to Dad choosing a car from his evoked set of options. After purchasing a car, this brought Dad to the fifth and final stage of the decision-making process, purchase post-evaluation, in which it will be determined if the chosen car was actually a good choice, if it actually meets all of the requirements and expectations. This brings us to the end of this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.